All right, we're live again, take 2. Hopefully this will work. I apologize for the stream cutting out all of a sudden. My computer crashed, which unfortunately has been happening more and more. And even now, I don't know, from where I sit, my webcam looks a little jittery. It's showing me to look a little jittery. I don't know. But anyways, I have a feeling this computer is on its really last legs. And as soon as computer shops reopen, I am going to take it in. I am thinking of having this computer because it's going to cost me a lot more money to buy another iMac. So it might be cheaper just to get get a new hard drive and it's going to be expensive because an iMac's RAM is welded in. And so it's going to be an arduous, but this computer definitely needs more RAM. And I think when I shoot videos or go live, especially on Google Chrome, which is already a memory hog. Anyways, you get I apologize. I thank you ahead of time for your understanding. And hopefully we can get through this reaction. Okay, welcome to Straight Talkin' Fedora Chick. For those of you who are new here, we are a storytime / social commentary channel. If you're into that kind of thing, please consider subscribing and hit that little ringy thingy below so you can be notified every time I upload or go live. And most of all, some of you have been asking where Shiza F. Ucker has been. I forgot to mention that when I started the other stream. So maybe it's all that well that I started this one. People have been wondering where Shiza F. Ucker is. She's going to be back soon. I'm going to have a Shiza F. Ucker video soon. Perhaps even with Bath the Panda as well. So and it'll be another very bad poetry video, very bad poetry, but with a slight bit of a twist, but I'm not going to give too much away. So once again, welcome. Today's video is titled Alanroberts, aka Everydamndayfitness, and Boris Johnson still refuse pesky facts. So you guessed it, today we are going to be reacting to Alanroberts, Everydamndayfitness. Those of you who have been with me for a while, it's no big secret that I'm not a fan, never was. Pretty much, and I've said why in previous videos. I'm not going to rehash it here. But suffice to say, if many remember, a long time ago, he had launched a call for a debate with somebody from the fat acceptance side of things. And I did a video responding, but so that I'd be willing to debate him on camera and live with my face on screen. But he never got back to me. Never did. Still willing if you're willing to, dude. Anyways, it should be noted that for the last while on Alanroberts, aka Everydamndayfitness, he has not made it a secret that he does not really believe in social distancing. He doesn't seem to grasp the seriousness of the rona, the illness, which we cannot say on YouTube, but the rona, that's what we're going to call it. And he doesn't seem to, like he says, other than, of course, the elderly and the immunosuppressed, he doesn't really believe in social distancing, and he's using, and earlier today on Twitter, he used Sweden as his argument, Sweden and the Swedish government's laissez-faire attitude, when in reality, Sweden is becoming quite the shit show. And so they are not flattening their curve, contrary to what he might believe. And it has proven that social distancing, while it does not eradicate the disease, it does slow it down. Closing borders and, self-quarantine, all of that, it has been known to slow the spread of the Rona. And yes, part of the idea, it's not to overwhelm the healthcare systems. Now, in many jurisdictions, like here in Canada, where all the provinces pretty much had been cutting healthcare to the bone, well, of course, we weren't really prepared. And I think governments from every country had made errors. So anyways, without further ado, let's react to Alan's video. We'll start with the reaction from the beginning. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash again. Keep our fingers crossed. Drum roll. Yeah. So, anyways, let's share the screen. Okay. We're going to start it from the beginning, okay? So hopefully, here we go.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson just upset a lot of people.
Boris Johnson upsets a lot of people. That's Tuesday in the daily life of the British government. What else is new? Oh God, that song. Oh, that song. Ugh.
My name is Alanroberts. This is Everyday Fitness.
Oh yeah, and kids, I'm playing the video normal speed. He really does talk about 300 miles a minute.
Like, subscribe, and click the notification button over there, and share my videos. Please do check out above at the end for this month's special for Damn Collective Coaching. That's where my wife, myself, and our team are in daily
the
contact
mandatory
with
pimping of the business
with them to help them gain a better
of
relationship with food
course
and better accountability habits. We take a morbidly obese person and we check their lifestyle. And we alter it bit by bit by bit by bit until they can still enjoy their life and get to a more normalized weight. And that way, it's a lifestyle so that they continue on being healthy. Because you see, it is being clearly shown in our world today that your weight is tied to your health. It absolutely is. It's been that way for a long time. People just not fucking cared about facts and shit like that. They've been more in their fifis.
No, fifis? What are fifis? I know it's you who's not caring about facts regarding the Rona, dude. And you and Boris Johnson? I'm about to bust your bubbles.
Than the facts. So, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK, was in the hospital not too long ago from COVID-19. He was in intensive care. He was in intensive care for 3 days. And he is now declaring a war on fat. Boris Johnson to tackle obesity and fight against coronavirus.
Okay, quite admirable that he wants to tackle the war on obesity all of a sudden, Boris Johnson. But right now, what's really overwhelming the NHS right now, and some of my friends in the UK do work with the NHS, and so they do tell me from firsthand experience that right now it's not obesity that's overwhelming the NHS, like any healthcare system all over the world. It is the Rona. Okay, so yeah, all well and good to want to tackle obesity, but got to tackle the Rona first.
After believing his weight led to hospital visit. Boris Johnson has vowed to tackle obesity as part of the fight against coronavirus after reports that he believed his weight landed him in intensive care.
Okay, that may be a part of it. And it is said, yes, that obesity does increase one's risk to catch the Rona. However, what is blatantly missing here, and the rest of the article, I did have to do a Google search for that title because Alan did not link this article in the description box so others can peruse through it at their own leisure. See, it would be a good idea. That's what I do. If I'm putting up, displaying quotes from an article, I usually link them in the description box, the articles, so you, the audience, can peruse them yourself. But have no fear. I found the article. It was in an issue of The Sun. So yeah, if you want that article to read it for yourselves later, I could put it. I could link it in the pinned comment below once I jump off.
The Prime Minister, previously a critic of the quote-unquote nanny state, is said to now support a more interventionist approach to obesity, which is not.
I think the UK needs a more interventionist approach now to the Rona.
To double a coronavirus patient's chances of being hospitalized. Johnson last month spent 3 days in intensive care fighting off the virus after his symptoms failed to clear following a 10-day spell in self-isolation. He is now convinced that his weight is the reason the virus, which for many people is symptomless, had such a dramatic effect on him.
That's not the only reason. I'll get into that.
Has often been photographed jogging or riding a bike through London, but still weighed 17.5 stone while only 5'9" in height when he entered the hospital. So real quick, I wanted to add.
Okay, I don't know how stones translate into pounds or kilos because I live in Canada, not in the UK. But if anybody is well versed in that, please let me know. By all means, please let me know. I'm always up to being educated. Hey, Alex, yes. And Nerese, yes, it's alive. Ray Phoenix, good to see you. Good to see you. So far it's working. Yes. So anyways, yeah, it's alive. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Sorry, losing. Oh, I hate that when I get distracted and I lose my train of thought. Oh yes. So what is happening is, yes, he's right there on that. I don't know how 17.5 stone translates into pounds or kilos, but if anybody cares to let me know in the chat, or what that formula, mathematical formula is, or in the comments below once I jump off the stream, by all means, please let me know. I'd be happy to learn.
And when Boris Johnson went into intensive care, I got tons of DMs and emails.
I'm sure you did.
Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, is now in intensive care. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? My thoughts are that he is a 245-pound male.
Oh, okay, 245 pounds. Okay.
0.5 stones, 5'9", in his 50s, with a high fucking stress job that does not look like he eats very well. Yes, he's been photographed, jogging and everything like that. I'm sure those are pretty good fucking photo ops.
Yes, they are photo ops, more than likely.
But even if they're just really his attempts to work out and be healthy, you see, no matter how much you work out, if you still eat more calories than you burn, you get obese.
Get on with it. He's a morbidly
obese 50-year-old man who contracted a virus that is very problematic for older people, especially with immuno-compromisations, one of them being morbid obesity.
Okay, yeah, I already conceded that an obese person is at higher risk, as well as being over 60, although there are more results worldwide of people in their 50s or even in their 40s ending up in the hospital, in the ICU, and many of whom passing away. However, and I'm going to get to this right now. Okay, I read the entire article that he posted up, and it failed to mention that Boris Johnson, at the beginning, when countries were starting to close their borders and starting to implement quarantine, lockdowns, social distancing rules, Boris Johnson was basically laughing in everyone's face. Here he was bragging about how he shook hands with many people, and this went against advice he had received. Okay, he received advice not to do that, not to go shake hands with people, not to go visit the hospital, all that stuff. But he didn't listen. He pretty much gave the middle finger, and he went off and he was bragging how he was shaking hands. See, nothing happened to me. It's kind of like a child, riding a bicycle, not holding the handlebars. See, no hands. That's exactly what it was like. There were scenes in Parliament, for example, where social distancing was not, they were sitting like close together, that it did not look like they were the minimum 2 meters, 6 feet apart. Yeah. So, okay, hang on. I'm going to address the chat now. Know what else increases the risk of catching it? Being a biological male. Surely that means try to change that first before self-isolating. I like that. I like that. Tech problems at my end of my mom's pretty crappy connection. That's okay. I've been having tech issues all night too, Rach. That's okay. Just popped in. I hope you keep this up. I gotta get some shut eye. Yeah, it will be staying up, Nerys. Have a good night and sleep tight, but it will be up. Thank you, Wraith, for putting the link to our Discord server. For those who haven't joined our Discord server yet, please consider joining us. We are a group of awesome people. We have rooms to suit all kinds of tastes. So come give us a shot. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I like Alex's a biological male. Yeah. But anyways, back to what I was saying. The article that Alan is referencing here is there is no mention of Boris Johnson refusing to distance socially, refusing to take warnings seriously, refusing refusing advice. He just didn't take it. He didn't take anything seriously. He didn't take his precautions. His idea, and it's mind-boggling, really. His idea was, it's okay to shake hands. all you have to do is wash your hands, right? Well, yeah, we do have to wash our hands, but it doesn't mean we go touching every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Okay, we don't know if they're sick. Thank you, Ray Phoenix. Yes, if you wish to support the channel, you may do so. Ray Phoenix just put up the Patreon. I have Patreon where I upload about once a month content that either I wish to test drive on a smaller audience first, or items, topics that I'm not comfortable going public with. So anyways, check that out. And we have, and once in a while, I'll put up some fun reactions there too. Yes, talk to you later, Fit Race. So thank you. So anyways, yeah, back to what I was saying. It's like, if you touch every Tom, Dick, and Harry, washing your hands, and you're not social distancing, it's scientists and epidemiologists, virologists, it's already been established with this novel virus that you can catch it from, it's caught from droplets. It's not really airborne. It's from droplets, like when we speak, or, micro droplets, and they say it can go up to 6 feet away. So all this to say, if you're shaking hands or you're in close proximity without protection, or you're not wearing a mask, which is, once again, it's designed to protect others. It's to protect others from you spreading the illness. But he wasn't wearing masks. He had no gloves, nothing. So, and that I would say is more important than whatever Boris Johnson's weight was at the time when he caught the Rona, right? That is when, I think that is way more important. Now, had he started taking the advice had he taken the pandemic serious earlier on, regardless of his weight, he would have had a much better chance of not catching this. Okay, but let's go on, Alan. Tell us more.
I was not surprised at fucking all that he got admitted to intensive care, again with high stress job and being morbidly obese. It's fucking it's just statistics and facts and shit like that. Wake the fuck up.
We've already seen how well you don't really read statistics. I'm referring to Twitter earlier when you were talking about Sweden.
He's not a fucking healthy individual. He should be scared. He should fucking do something about it. And congratulations to Boris that he is my motherfucker.
Yeah, okay. Yes, he should be scared, but not just for himself, but for, as the prime minister responsible for an entire country where things are particularly rough, where casualties are mounting in the UK. He should be scared of that more so than his own damn weight at this time.
Boris Johnson is actually going to try to tackle the obesity epidemic
in
the UK. Motherfucker, hit me the fuck up if you need help. He has reported.
Yes. Heads up if anybody thinks Boris Johnson is going to hire Alan as his, advisor.
Reportedly shed a stone since being discharged from the hospital on April 12th. Good job, motherfucker. Must have scared the fuck out of him. Various conditions linked to obesity, including diabetes and heart disease, are known to make patients more vulnerable to the virus. New figures yesterday showed that
yes, heart disease and diabetes. Now, while both of those conditions are prevalent in the overweight, what it fails to mention is there are people who are slimmer or of regular weight or who are slimmer who also get diabetes and heart disease. My maternal grandmother was one of them. My younger brother had always been underweight. He's diabetic. Okay, he's diabetic. I'm just saying that, okay, diabetics, yeah, you find them with slim people too, as you would people with heart conditions or respiratory ailments such as COPD, asthma, etc. Right? So, yeah. So, anyways, let's get okay. So that's the thing, because it doesn't say here obesity per se. It says diabetes and heart disease. Heart disease are known to make patients more vulnerable to the virus. So I just pointed out, people of normal size, once again, can be diabetic and can have heart disease. Here we go.
1/4 of all coronavirus fatalities in hospitals in England have been patients with diabetes. Data from the Health Survey for England conducted in 2018 found 31% of all adults in the UK to be obese. The Prime Minister, who has previously said he wanted to see a review of sin taxes, like 2018's tax on sugary drinks, is said to have told advisors, "I've changed my mind on this," quote unquote. He is reported to have said during discussions, "It's all right for you thinnies," and to think the current focus on public health presents an opportunity to get Britain on its bike. It was also reported this week that Johnson's advice when asked how to beat off coronavirus was, "Don't be a fatty in your 50s." It is currently expected that the UK will have to live with many economic and health impacts of the coronavirus until a vaccine can be developed. And
this is true. Yeah, but that's around the world. This is a global issue. It's not just the UK. And again, like when asked his advice, how to beat off the rona, don't be a fatty in your 50s. Okay. It shows that he hasn't learned. Okay. This shows the arrogance that he has not learned. How about you say, practice social distancing, stay 6 feet away from other people. Do not shake their hand. Wear a mask. And yes, of course, wash your hands. That goes without, or sanitize your hands. And in my case, I wear gloves when I go out. I don't touch anything with my bare hands anymore. So it shows this, don't be a fatty in your 50s. I think it's dangerous that he hasn't learned. He should be, first of all, it's not good to be overweight at any age. Let's get that out of the way. So that was the other stupidity of his argument. But more to the point, how about social distancing? Promote self-care, on prevention, on prevention, on how to lower or minimize your risks as much as possible of catching the rona. Right? So, okay. So, how about social distancing? Oops, sorry. Promote self-care, sorry about that. Sorry about the echo. Okay, so, sorry, I have to adjust something. This computer is so ancient. Wow. Okay, let's go back.
See, that is the thing. There are many economic and societal issues that are going to be dealt with moving forward from the coronavirus, not to mention the fact that the coronavirus is still going to be out there. It's probably going to be a seasonal thing. So there are many things we need to prepare for. One of the things that world leaders should do, like Boris Johnson, who I do
can't wait to hear this in the world
according
to Alan.
Hit me the fuck up, I'll help you out.
I can't wait to hear this. The world according to Alan.
Yeah. Anyway, but very fucking realistically, now is the time for society to try to encourage every fucking body to try to be as healthy as fucking possible.
True.
You see,
yeah.
Being obese, having poor lifestyle choices, all lead to death now. They all lead to a much, much earlier death.
Like this?
They always have led to an earlier, more painful death. Just now, it is much, much, much closer. I'm very happy that some of the world leaders are starting to see that the obesity epidemic, in reality, is one of the things that made this epidemic, this pandemic, even worse.
Oh,
and
no.
we should fucking do something about
Don't
it.
even go
That's
there.
my 2 cents a matter. My name is Alan Roberts. You can hit me up on Instagram at alanroberts. You can hit me up on Twitter at everydamndayfitness. I'm also on Facebook at everydamndayfitness.
Good God.
At everydamndayfitness.net. Got?
Yeah, okay. All right. We're done with him. We're done with him. Okay, stop screen share. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Are we working? Sorry, the computer froze. Okay. So, okay. Sorry about this. Okay, the computer is holding up, but barely. But so, anyways, I will try to speed this along. Okay, yeah. Right now, we're dealing with something more important, a pandemic. The Rona, we have never dealt with such an illness that is with a contagion that is so high, and and a disease that is so fatal potentially, or leaves organ damage. And yes, children can get it too. And I find that what Alan implies here is that most of the people ending up in the hospital with rona are obese. And while that's a good chunk of them, it's not most of them. I think there's a bunch of nursing homes, for example, patients in nursing homes and their patient care workers, nurses and such would beg to differ. Now, I don't know what the percent, I mean, you'd have to go by jurisdiction, but in long-term care facilities that look after the disabled or they look after the elderly or both, I'm going to gather most of them are not obese, of that population are not obese, but that's most of them. And it also should be added when Boris Johnson says, don't be a fatty in your 50s like me. Well, how about his health secretary or secretary of health? Is that what they call it in British Parliament? Again, please feel free to let me know in chat or in the comments section. Matt Hancock, his secretary of health, if anybody's ever seen a picture of him, he's not in his 50s. And he's quite slim, and he did test positive for the Rona. He did test positive right around the same time that Boris Johnson did. So there's one example right there. And now I'm going to give you another example. I live in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Okay, and Montreal, for those of you who don't know, this was once the fashion capital of Canada. It's not anymore. It's, I believe, Toronto now. But Montrealers tend to fancy themselves still high fashion and all that. And as a result, go on the streets of downtown Montreal or in the Plateau Mont-Royal or any other trendy neighborhood where there are bars, bistros, and coffee shops. You're going to hear young girls saying, anorexia is in, and I want to be anorexic. No, I wish I was kidding. I honestly wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Okay, and this city is pretty, and I'm speaking as an overweight bitch myself. Okay, this city is quite hostile to overweight people, particularly overweight women. Speaking firsthand, I won't even go into a restaurant alone because of the gawking and the staring and the comments. Okay, I can't handle it. Okay, so if I want to try a new place, I have to pretty much bring someone with me, preferably a male, because that way it's gawking is not as bad, but still I prefer, this is why I avoid it. Okay. Because of the hostilities. Montreal to date, as far as I know, Montreal by itself, the obesity rate is about 18%. So pretty much lower than the Canadian average. And not surprising because given the hostile attitude towards overweight people, particularly overweight women here in Montreal, most people are not obese or overweight in this city. Yet we are the epicenter of the Rona here in Canada. Here in La Belle Province, we have a director of public health who prefers to play rap dancing politician than do his job as a doctor. And a government that is now a provincial government in François Legault that is looking more like a clown car brigade day by day by day. Okay, so the casualties keep mounting here. We're not flattening the curve. So, Alan, I just punched another hole in your argument. This is not just an obesity problem. It's the fact that protocols, many governments in any jurisdiction, we're late in acting, putting in protocols like closing the borders, implementing social distancing laws, self-quarantine. Okay, all of that lovely stuff. So, and that's largely why it's like the horse, the horse ran out of the barn before we could close the barn door. That's the best way I can describe it. And to suggest that, because the way you imply, Alan implies in his video, it's like he believes, it's like he's blaming once again overweight people. He's blaming them, he's blaming overweight people for this pandemic, So once again, this is twofold what he's trying to do. A, his fat phobic ways, and B, to push that inconvenient narrative. Merci beaucoup, Alex. Merci. Je parle en québécois. Quebec French is different from Parisian French. I have heard from people from France that they don't really understand us in Quebec. But thank you. J'apprécie beaucoup. Je t'apprécie beaucoup. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. It's like, so he has to push this narrative, and he has this second narrative that he wants to push, that he wants to, he's Cocoa for Cuckoo Puffs to reopen the economy. And God, that ego on him, it's bigger than the size of Montreal. It's bigger than the size of Quebec. And I don't know, but are his brains in his biceps? No, seriously. Yeah, he's claiming that the fat acceptance movement is dangerous. And yes, there are the extremists who are, and I'm not going to really get into that now because that's not what this is about. But I'm just trying to illustrate, how he pushes his narrative, right? And I'm just illustrating how he pushes this narrative. And the other narrative, like I said, earlier today, merci beaucoup, je t'apprécie. So anyways, as I was saying, earlier, I think, was it today or during the night? Like I said, I don't know where Alan lives, so therefore I don't know if there's a time difference between where I live and where he lives. I'm in the Eastern time zone, but no matter. He was on Twitter earlier, like I mentioned earlier in this stream, talking about Sweden, and he's like, yay! And he's all cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? About Sweden, because if you go to his community tab, okay, he doesn't really, let's see, we'll go into his community tab. Okay. I'm going to go to his community tab because he's made more posts there where he shows his anti-social distancing. So here we go. We're going to share screen again, and we're going to, okay. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you can all see this. I don't know if you can all see this. Yeah, okay. So I cannot crop it any bigger. Maybe if I make it, how about this? Okay, here we go. So as you can see, if you're healthy and below the age of 65, what does this chart? Yeah. Okay. So he's got his polls, he's got his polls. And of course, his fans mostly. Yeah. Once again, he's, he's. So, yeah, that's the thing. Sorry, Alan, we've got to socially distance for a while. And if he is like what a lot of people are saying, we got to reopen that economy. Here is something I'm going to leave you with a thought before I jump off this stream, okay? The economic argument, reopening the economy. Okay, we reopen everything. And we have seen in some jurisdictions, like in France, they reopened schools. There are 70 new cases in France now of kids testing positive for Rona. Here in Quebec, in the outlier regions, not in Montreal, but in the outlier regions, there is one kid who was sent home from school because they had Rona symptoms. It's not known if the kid is tested positive, but these days, the symptoms being similar to that, we can't really take chances. So anyways, let's say we reopen the economy. We once again let the horses out of the barn, right? Open the barn door. And people get sick as a result. They get sick. The workers get sick because a lot of, like especially here in Quebec, or you go to the United States, health and safety standards are not necessarily adhered to nor enforced. So there may not be any, safety programs in progress. Now, once this is over, everybody says the world we knew it as we knew it before Forget that. That's not happening again. Okay, forget that. There's going to be the new normal. I know a lot of people hate that term, but that's the best way I can describe it. It's the new normal. And that would include new safety measures put in for workers in any situation. Now, given the healthcare workers, Francois Legault, I call him Frankie because, well, he doesn't deserve respect. He comes on, he calls the healthcare workers ses anges gardiens, guardian angels. But what I'm hearing, because I used to work for health and social services for the province of Quebec as a secretary, I worked alongside frontline social workers and child psychologists, for many years. So I am familiar with the province's healthcare system and the politics behind it. I also served on my union local on the executive. So I am quite versed in the politics that go along with it. Now, the healthcare workers are also getting sick. Okay. They're on the lines and then one of the major complaints are forced overtime. There was a nursing home that actually locked the workers in to make sure they did not escape overtime. Can you imagine? They were locked in. And of course, another major complaint is lack of PPE, a lack of protective gear. So much for les anges gardiens. So we reopened the economy and so workers are not going to be protected. The public, oddly enough, won't be protected as it is in grocery stores. Here in Montreal, it's not hard to see why we're the epicenter. And it's not just the nursing homes or the hospitals, but social distancing is not being adhered to. That's why I'm afraid to go to the supermarket. I too have a few chronic conditions, which leave me with a poor immune system. So I've got to be extra careful myself, right? But on the other hand, I live alone. I don't have any help. So I try to restrict it to once every 2 weeks to go out if I must, if I can't get something delivered. But it's still a nerve-wracking venture, So all this to say, so imagine when we reopen the economy, it's going to be like a lot worse. No social distancing, probably no health and safety measures on the workplace. So workers drop off. They go off sick. Some of them even pass on. Okay. The healthcare systems are overwhelmed. So if you've got no workers and you got overwhelmed healthcare systems, how can you have an economy? No, I really love to know, how is that possible? If there is one thing we should have imparted throughout this time of quarantine, is a lot of these companies, something I've known for a very long time, that these CEOs and these companies, they make money off the backs of the workers. They've shown they cannot operate without workers. So if you've got no workers because they're too sick to go to work or they're too afraid they're going to get sick, which is a valid fear, how are you going to, and the healthcare systems are overwhelmed. The hospitals are bursting at the seams. There's not enough equipment to either protect the workers or protect the patients or to treat the patients. How can you have an economy? Hang on. Let's see, Alex. A second wave is even more devastating. Yeah, I heard that too. It takes up even more resources and even longer until we lift restrictions again. Absolutely right. And we have been seeing that, like I said, in some jurisdictions that have been reopening the economy in the United States, namely, almost like within a week or even days. Whoops. I mean, before they said it takes 14 days, I believe, to incubate till one becomes contagious. But then there are other reports I've seen that say, no, it can happen in less than a week, because this is the thing. It's not for nothing. It's called novel. It's novel because it's new. Nobody's seen it before. So, the news changes daily. The statistics change daily, sometimes hourly, So, so you got to think about that. Hang on. It's only good for the short-term economy, but we don't live a short-term life. Absolutely right, Alex. We don't live a short-term life. We need to make sure that we can survive well in the long run. Absolutely right. I mean, if Alan were going to go by his statistics with what's happening in Sweden, perhaps he should examine next door what's happening in Finland, for example, okay, where they have fewer cases. In Finland, if I'm not mistaken, they did put restrictions in place that most other jurisdictions have, right? So, you know, so that's what all this to say. Alan's two narratives. He's like got tunnel vision as he talks about 300 miles a minute. You know, doesn't like the fatties, and he doesn't like social distancing. Oh yeah, there's a third one. Pump his business, right? Of course. Gotta go. We'll catch up with the rest later on. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Alex, for stopping by. Thank you so much for stopping by, Alex. It's always good to have you, as always. Anyways, I'm going to be jumping off this stream shortly myself because I'm trying to shorten them to under an hour. I think I've covered pretty much everything I've wanted to cover. If there's any questions or comments, feel free to add them in the comment section. The stream will be left up for those who joined in later. Or who missed it. Once again, for those who tried to come in earlier when my computer crashed, I apologize once again for the inconvenience. Please leave a thumbs up on the way out the door if you haven't done so already. And please consider subscribing if you have not done so already as well. Above in the chat, also in the description box, if you wish to support the channel, you may do so through Patreon or a one-time donation through PayPal or Streamlabs. And those links are also in the description box of this video. And what else? Here is also our Discord server. Come and join some awesome people. If you haven't joined us already in our Discord server, what are you waiting for? We have rooms to suit all taste, group of non-judgmental people. And yeah, come and join us. So anyways, that's it for now. She's at F. Ucker will be back. That's a promise. She's a fucker is coming back very, very soon with her and her very bad poetry. Poetry so bad, it's genius. Okay. So anyways, I'm leaving you for right now. Take care of yourselves and each other. And if there's somebody in your midst who is at risk or alone, please give them a call or give them a text or DM them on their social media. It can make all the difference in the world to that person's day. All this while exercising social distancing. So anyways, bye for now, everybody.